Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a video on homemade fish food. So like you can see on the screen, it's about preparing your own fish food or feeding your fish food with, you buy home fish food that's been prepared by individuals, like specifically for a certain kind of fish, or depending, if you really think that's reliable source that you can really buy, and the fish food is really good compared to commercial food. So um, basically we are going to talk about a few things uh, about homemade fish food basically. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is why you should use homemade fish food. Yeah, so obviously there should be a reason for you to use the homemade fish food instead of commercially purchased fish food. So that's what we're going to discuss. Second thing is, what are the benefits? Yes, of course you need to know what benefits you have by switching from commercial foods to homemade fish food. So that's something that's really important that we're going to discuss. And then finally, what I actually feed my fish. I was feeding commercial food for a while, and you might have seen my videos. I've been fish feeding videos. I feed those, but I've stopped it about a year ago, something like that. So it's mainly because I think it's a lot of crap in there. It's just these these people are making so much money, and it's very expensive, and and the fish, they are not really getting what they are supposed to be getting. So I actually have, what I have done is, I've done a bit of research, not bit, a lot of research, because I want my fish to be healthy and live a long life. So what I've done is I've done a lot of research and actually gone through the most common fish that people do have in the aquariums, the most common tropical fish, as a community tank. So, and actually seen what are their basic diets in the wild, and I've kind of, what nutritions do they get out of those food. So, and I've replicated them, and formulated and created the food that actually would uh, that can be fed to my fish, and it's 100% nutrition. There's no chemicals or anything like that, and there's no unnecessary stuff. It's basically it's packed with nutritions, and you don't need to feed a lot, you just need to feed a little, because basically it's only nutritions. And yeah, the fish are gonna love it, and I've seen huge changes in my fish, back in the day. I've seen at certain times they are not really active, if you see the fish in the wild, they are very active and healthy. But of course, what happens in the home aquarium, you replicate everything, the environment, the water quality and everything, but still your fish are not that great, and they don't really put out the actual colors. So the main reason is food. Like humans, you're not properly fed, you're not eating properly, you're not eating the right thing, you're just eating processed food every time. You don't look good, you look pale, you don't you're not active. So it's basically the same scenario that applies to the fish as well. So that's what we're going to discuss, and I've taken a few things into consideration, and we'll be discussing through that. And then finally, I will show you a video of my fish. What I feed to my fish basically is the food that I have prepared. So they do enjoy it very very much, and I can see the difference back in the day and now, and they are kind of eagerly ready to eat. They're just waiting, and there's a difference between eating for hunger and eating with joy, and eating because they like the food. So you actually would see the difference only if you try it. So I've tried it, I've seen there's numerous changes, and the fish, they just love it, they are so active, they are into the food, and yeah, it has brought out so much huge difference in my tank, and I just love it. So I'm just actually enjoying as well, enjoying my feeding sessions as well. So yeah, um, so first of all, I'll just take you through a couple of uh, commercial foods, and go through the ingredients. Then you know what I'm talking about. This is one of the commercial foods, Nutrifin Max. I'm just totally not against these people, but it's just, if you're a beginner, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead, use them. They're not too bad. But as time pass by, you want your fish to live longer. You want to enjoy your fish keeping. If your fish are getting sick and diseases and they're dying very often, basically you're not going to enjoy your fish keeping. You're going to quit. So you don't want to quit. So you want to continue this. And one of the best way to continue is feeding the right balanced diet without any of this crap that's in there. Cornmeal, wheat flour, now oatmeal. Where do you get all this stuff? In the water. They don't have, you don't find this in the water. Then why do you actually feed them? Yeah, of course there are binding agents. You just, when you created the processed food, you need them to bind, or else you put in the water and then they just dissolve with the water and ruin the water quality. So basically, so these are the things, but the thing is they have used the most cheap material to use as them as a binding agent. Now cheap materials are of course not good for the fish. They of course they create other issues in the long run, and they get sick. They have this, swell, well, several diseases to do with the intestine, to do with the digestive system, and and all those things. It's mainly because of your food. Your food is not up to standard. And so of course there are other things like shrimp meal, and yeah, those are really good. I don't say they are bad. So that's why these are okay for beginners, but I don't think you should continue using this for your fish every day, every time, throughout your hobby. No, it's not good. You want yourself to be looked after well. So basically you want your fish to be looked after well, and then you're going to really enjoy your fish keeping too. So and the other thing is, look at the analysis. uh, Phosphorus, it's got 0.6% phosphorus. It's not too bad. Of course fish need phosphorus, but this amount of phosphorus is too much. Now you don't have only one pack of fish food, you have several, maybe 5 to 6 of them, because you have different fish in your tank and you put different food for them. Now all this adds in, and then you have a big amount of phosphorus in your tank. And now see, what's the reason for your algae. The one of the main reasons for your algae to, you know algae promoting you to be promoted in your tank is phosphorus. So there you go. Basically it's from your fish food. Now as well, if you actually look at, I've been feeding these as well. Now it's got pretty much the same ingredients. It's the same ingredients, maybe one or two more or less here and there, but the main ingredients are wheat and flour and corn gluten. They they are not the best food. Of course you can't find the exact food from the wild, but you need to replicate or formulate your fish food to be same as, at least very similar and organic, and make sure there's no chemicals and it's packed it full of nutrients for your fish. So that's what I've done basically in my fish food. So one of the main secrets for your whole long life for your fish is that, if you see my other videos 2 years ago, you can see it's the same fish that I have in my other tanks. So now, of course, I don't have my old tank now. Now it's a new one. So I've just, yeah, it's still there. They don't die basically. They don't have any sickness. They don't have any diseases. So far, they are doing really well, and I would actually like you guys to try it out as well. Just get that and try it out, and of course you're gonna love it, and you are not going to buy any more of this commercial food. Um, so let's see
Yes,
the analysis of this product. Yes, yeah, the phosphorus is 1.5%. Now twice, it's more than twice of Nutrofin Max. That's really not good. And yeah, so there are so many other things about. I'm not here to talk about the disadvantages of these commercial foods. There's so many in the market out there. Sorry guys, I'm not really interested, but what I'm here is to just promote homemade fish food. I'm gonna show you um, a few things, and I'm gonna discuss about a few nutrients that they really need, and then we'll go from there. Now, one of the main things they need is protein. Now all living beings need protein. So but where you get the protein from is a very important factor. You can get in different sources. You can of course get it in meat and all the stuff, but do fish eat them? No. Fish actually eat whatever they can find within the wild, and that's what's the best source for them. Now, for example, earthworms, worms, kind of, all these little insects, they all got proteins and they are rich in proteins too, but it's their proper diet. It's not they eat, well, they don't eat cows, they meat, they don't eat beef or anything like that, so basically you got to give them what they actually find in the wild, like maybe other fish. They do eat dead fish, like I would say salmon is one of the good fish, because it's packed with full of proteins, and yeah, lobsters and similar stuff like insects, like mosquitoes and things like that. Now that's protein. Then biotin, that's very important too. Now that's really important for tooth and bone development. Now, where you can get that, you can get it from other organic sources like egg yolks and various other things. I really yeah, carrots, yeah, things like that, of course, but the amount, the proportion of food that you actually put in there is actually what actually so that you're not overdosing the food with certain amount of items. Fish, they're very small, they're even smaller than you, certain fish are smaller than your fingers, so you need to make sure that the consistency, the amount of ingredients are there in the exact right amounts. And vitamin A, yeah, again, for bone growth, it's just good for reproduction as well. And vitamin C is actually good to for stress. Fish, they go through a lot of stress. Vitamin C is very good to heal the stress, and they're also good for bones, development of the bones, and for the growth as well. Sorry, I forgot that. All these vitamins and all these nutrients are very important for their growth. Then you got what? Vitamin should be B6 instead of 6. Vitamin B6. Sorry, that's a typing. Anyway, should be vitamin B6, and they are good for reproduction and with the growth of the fish. So there are other things like calcium and B1. Okay, now that we have looked at why we should actually use homemade fish food, or and a few things like commercial fish food, what are the ingredients like, what do they have included into their fish food, and what are the important nutrients that the fish need. Now just let's just go into the benefits. That's the main purpose of this video. What are the benefits and why we should use now continue using this fish food for to feed our fish. So one of the main benefits is cutting costs. So basically, if you're preparing your own food, you are of course able to cut your costs because you don't have the wholesalers, retailers, or anyone. All those profit margins, everything's gone off. You can just choose whatever that's the best foods for your fish, and then just include it into your fish food, and it's good to go. It's really ends up at a fraction of the cost. And even if you had to buy it from who supplies the homemade fish food, it's just still cheaper. It works out way cheaper than buying commercial foods. Like it's gonna if you're gonna buy fish food that's from the from the stores, it's gonna be really expensive. Like and especially fish, they don't stay at the same size. They tend to keep on growing. The more it grows, the more fish you need to sorry, the more food you need to feed your fish, and more consumption. So that's again becoming more and more expensive. For example, like if you take the cost of a regular, like a normal regular um, fish food, it would be about 8 to 10, or even up to 12 bucks. I don't know which country, it depends on the country, but anyway, here in New Zealand it costs at least 10 to even 10, even among between 10 to 15 bucks, a reasonably a normal standard fish food. So that's and that will last for how long? Probably a couple of weeks, 2 3 weeks, tops a month. If it's about 100 grams, or even uh, no, I think more than that. So basically, it's very expensive. And then if you buy with, you have this top of the range, really good fish food, and those food with packed with vitamins and minerals and all these nutrients that your fish need, they are very very expensive. They end up costing more than 25 25 30 bucks. Sometimes it's 40 50 bucks just for a can of fish food, and it'll what long last you for about a couple of weeks, 2 3 4 weeks tops. So I don't think so. I don't think it's cost effective at all buying fish food. One, it ends up not being really healthy. Second, you have to spend more money, and like I said, the older the fish gets, the more it eats, and also you just won't have only one kind of fish in your tank. You might have several other fish in it, so you might have to buy several different fish foods to cater different fish needs, the different needs of those each individual fish. So basically, it's gonna cost you heaps, and yeah. So basically, that's about the cost, guys. So this is very cost effective. The second thing is it's fresh and nutritious. It's just not like dry foods. It's not processed foods. You don't have chemicals in the air. It's all about fresh foods in the air. It's you try your best to replicate whatever the fish eats in its nature in the wildlife. So basically, it's pretty much very similar, and it's highly nutritious because you have just cut off all the crap. You don't need the wheat and all those extra things. And even if you had to add binders, you can use vegetable binders. You can use those very good binders like egg yolks, or even certain kind of algae that those are really good in for binders. Just so that you get extra benefit out of it as well, like through protein and the calciums that it's got, other nutrients it's got, instead of gelatin or any other wheat, or all those products that fish don't really consume. So that's another benefit. That's the third one. Let's go. It's health. Now your fish is healthy. Basically, it's happy. It's ready to eat the food, and it's enjoying the food. Basically, it's really healthy. You don't have your fish being sick very often, and then again you're spending more money. Your fish is sick and they are diseases. You're spending a fortune on all the products that you need to buy to make sure your fish is cured. So basically you just keep on spending more and more money, so eventually you're gonna quit the hobby. So we don't want to do that. So basically fish food is very important uh, for your enjoyment, and also for the fish. So healthy, happy, and a long life for the fish. Like, let's go for the fourth one. That's okay. Phosphorus. All these commercial fish foods has got phosphorus. It just adds into the tank, and then gonna ruin your water quality. Basically, again, there is no more problem. Again, the fish is gonna get sick. No good water, the fish is gonna get sick, and then creating algae problems. You gotta keep on maintaining, cleaning your tank very often. Like with like few days time, you got algae on the glasses and everything. You just keep on cleaning. It's more and more headache for you. So again, it comes down to proper food, healthy, balanced, well, a good food for your fish. Then finally, it's for us. We're enjoying. Basically, if the fish are enjoying, they are happy. We are stress free. We don't have any headaches about the tank. Basically, we are happy. We are enjoying our fish keeping. So I just put down these, things that I came up on my mind, as benefits. So I think there might be more. Different people have different objectives and aims, and whatever they are after from their own tanks. So basically those are all advantages and benefits for them. So these are some things that actually crossed my mind, so I thought of jotting it down for you guys. So those are the benefits, guys. So think about it. Go ahead, try to do it on your own. If you think it's really hard, you just unable to do so much research and put down the the nutritions and the quantities in the exact proportional amounts. Just go ahead and buy some. You might find people selling those as well. Mostly they don't. Usually people who prepare them, they tend to keep it for themselves, just for their own fish. Because it's prepared specifically for them, they just tend to keep it for their own self, instead of putting it out for the other people. And yeah, so um, uh, go ahead guys, do this and just continue watching this video, and you will actually find it's another part of video actually I've done on my tank, where this is where we're going to the third part, like where I'm feeding my fish, which the same fish food that I've prepared for my fish. They love it. As soon as I put it into my tank, seconds pass by, everything is gone basically. Of course, these DIY foods, like the food that you prepare, are not up to the best of standards in terms of binding. So as soon as you put it in the water, a few seconds later, you might have a few pieces, up here and there. um, the water, you might have dots and all these small bits and pieces on the water, but those pieces are big enough for the fish to eat. So eventually, maybe 10 minutes later on, 30 minutes later, or 20 minutes later on, it's the fish pretty all the fish pretty much ate all the food over there. And if you might have really minute particles, but eventually that's why you have your filter. It's gonna clear up within maybe tops 30 minutes. In 30 minutes time, you're gonna have a new back to normal tank. You've seen my tank in the video. It's just crystal clear. Basically, I feed them every day. I feed this food every day. Trust me, I feed it every day, and still my water is top quality and it's crystal clear. So basically, which means it's nothing major to think about. So now that we have gone through the benefits, let's go ahead and look at my feeding sessions, and you will really enjoy. um, So this is the fish food that I'm talking about, guys. So it's in a Ziploc bag. I've done it and put it into a Ziploc bag. It's flat and it's frozen. So basically, it's freezed fresh food, and it's completely full of nutrients, and it's thin enough to break down into a small piece. So basically, what I do is I break down about 5 to 7 grams of those and pretty much feed my fish every day, or maybe once in 2 days. So um, I know the price promotion is about a few couple of pieces like that, and then what I do is I just break it down into smaller pieces, so that it's just all the fish are just not fighting for one piece of food. So each one pretty much gets one of those, and a couple of them fighting for one, just trying to eat off one piece of food. So basically you break it down into small pieces like that, and then all you do is you just put it into the tank. So now look at that. They just love it. As soon as you put that in, they kind of just can't wait for it. They just enjoy this food so much. They just love it. And that's it. It's not much. You just put a few. Everyone pretty much gets a piece of it, and some of it. And then and when it comes to fish, you don't need to feed a lot. It's just that's if you think it's enough and they have consumed within a couple of minutes, and that's more than enough. Now it's just 30 seconds gone. Maybe just by in about 30 seconds you will see pretty much everything is gone. You might see a few bits and pieces here and there, but those are big enough for the fish to actually eat. Once they've eaten those food, all this minute particles just settle down in the bottom. Now I've got a lot of bottom feeders. What they do is they just eat of all whatever that comes down to the bottom. Now basically you're feeding all your fish, it's the same food. You don't need to maintain so many foods. It's so easy, convenient for you. um, you don't need to struggle looking for food specifically for them. It is catered for all those community fish, pretty much omnivorous fish, the most common fish. And they will love it, and you can see they just bringing out the colors. I think it's too far away, but when you see my videos, other videos where that are very zoomed out into the tank, you will see my rainbows and those fishes that actually show colorations. They just pop out, they show the from the color of the fish you can say how healthy they are. And the way they move, the more they are active, the more active the fish, and the color it just gives, they show out, that's two basic things actually. You can say fish is doing really well and they are enjoying the conditions in the tank, especially with the food and the water and everything that's in there. So I think by now it's about a couple of minutes gone, and basically all the fish food is gone. And my still the water looks the tank looks much clearer. It's not as clear as it was earlier, but it's not too bad. It's just like with all foods, it just gets a bit what do you say, bits of pieces here and there with all food, but same things with here as well. But half an hour later the filter picks up it all, picks it up all, and then the water is back to normal. So so that's what this video is about, guys. So I think I pretty much covered a lot of things. And thanks for watching, guys. Thanks a lot for viewing until the end, and thanks a lot for all your support. And yeah, go ahead and do your own fish food, or just get whoever who supplies, and that's the best way to keep a healthy aquarium. Goodbye, guys, and see you guys another time. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye.